If stiff wrists and fingers are cramping your style, this video is for you. Whether you're dealing with arthritis or recovering from a wrist injury or post-surgery stiffness, I'm gonna guide you through 5 dynamic wrist and finger mobility exercises that you can do to loosen up the many muscles and tendons and joints of your wrists and your fingers. Best of all, we won't be doing any painful pushing or stretching on your joints. Just effective, gentle movements to boost your motion and your flexibility. And you can do both hands at the same time. Just make sure when you do these that you work within a comfortable range of motion. You want your exercises to feel good, not painful. And of course, always consult your doctor to make sure that these exercises are right for you. All right, we are going to start by loosening up the fingers first with movement number 1. These are called knuckle bender tendon glides. To do this exercise, you want to go ahead and bend your large knuckles. So those are your MPs. You want to bend those into MP flexion. Then you want to go into a straight fist. So a straight fist means that the PIP joints bend, but not the DIP joints. You're going to keep those little joints straight. And then you're going to go back up into knuckle bending or MP flexion and straight. Let's do 10 of those. Ready? So bend those knuckles down, then go into that straight fist, back up into knuckle benders and straight. That's 1, back down, straight fist, back to those knuckle benders and straight, and that's 2, down, straight fist, knuckle benders and straight, that's 3, down, straight fist, back to MP flexion or knuckle benders and straight, that's 4, down, straight fist, MP flexion, straight, that's 5, you're halfway there, down, straight fist, MP flexion and straight, that's 6, down into MP flexion, straight fist, back to MP flexion and straight up, that's 7, back down, straight fist, back up, and that's 8. Bend those MP joints only, then bend that second joint, the PIPs, back up into knuckle benders and straight, that's 9. Let's do one more, down, straight fist, bending those knuckles and up, and that's 10. Good job. Okay, we're going to continue to work on our finger mobility with movement number 2, and these are called hook fist tendon glides. So to do these, you want to go ahead and open those fingers up, and then you want to go into a hook fist now. So now we're going to get the DIP joints, those little joints of our fingers, and the PIP joints, we're going to flex those, but this time the large knuckles are going to stay straight. Then from there, we're going to go down and curl into a fist. You don't need to make a tight fist. Just go ahead and make sure that you bend all 3 joints then with this fist. Back up into that hook and straight. Let's do 10 of those. Ready? So straight, hook, fist, back up to hook and straight. That's 1, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 2, back to that hook, fist, back up to hook and straight, that's 3, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 4, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 5, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 6, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 7, hook, fist, hook, straight, that's 8. Let's do 2 more, hook, fist, hook, straight, back to hook, fist, hook, and straight. And that's 10. Good job. Okay, now let's go to movement number 3. This one is called thumb C's. So we're gonna focus a little more on the thumb with this exercise. So to do this one, you are going to open those fingers up and open that thumb up. Then what you want to do is go into a C position with the fingers and the thumb, but really trying to focus on that thumb web space and making sure that you're getting that thumb nice and open in a C, almost like you're going to try to hold a bottle or a can. So really focus on that C, and then we're going to go ahead and open and spread back up. Ready? All right, so spread open, spread that thumb and those fingers, then go into that C, making sure you get a nice C here, nice web space. Hold that just a few seconds here, and then back open. That's 1. Back to that C, hold here, back open. That's 2. Back to that C, really making sure that you're bringing that thumb around, kind of in alignment with that index finger there. And back open, that's 3. Back to that C, hold here a couple of seconds. And back open, that's 4. Back to the C here. And open, that's 5, halfway there. Back to that C. And open, that's 6, back to the C, and open, that's 7. You can bring your hands down if you want to. Really, you can position your hands in any way you want that's comfortable for you. Back to that C, and open, that's 8. Back to that C, nice open web space. And open, that's 9. One more, back to that C. And open, that's 10. Good job. Okay, now we are going to move more into the wrist with movement 4, and this one is dart thrower's motion. Dart thrower's motion is a great combination wrist exercise that works all of the motions of your wrist in a more comfortable range of motion. You get wrist extension and radial deviation and flexion and ulnar deviation. So to do this one, you're gonna pretend like you are throwing a dart. So you wanna make sure that you bring the thumb and the index and middle fingers are touching, almost like you have a dart in your hand, and your forearm is rotated just a little bit, but you're gonna be bringing that wrist back into some extension, but also a little bit of radial deviation. Then what you wanna do is bring that wrist forward as you're releasing the dart. And as you release, you're gonna go ahead and open those fingers. And you'll notice your wrist will go into wrist flexion and ulnar deviation. So it's really a nice, gentle and fluid motion. So just make sure that you stay here just for a few reps on the right hand here, just to make sure you get that. So bring that wrist back and then bring that wrist forward. And let's go ahead and try that on our opposite hand here. So again, pretend like you have a dart in your hand, index, middle, and thumbs are touching. Forearm is just a little slightly rotated. It's not fully pronated here, but it's in just a nice comfortable position. Then you're bringing that wrist back into some radial deviation and some extension. And then you're gonna act like you are releasing that dart. You're opening those fingers and the thumb, and then the wrist is going into some ulnar deviation and flexion. And just spend a couple moments here again, just making sure this is a nice fluid movement. You just want to make sure the fingers are relaxed when you're doing this, and really your fingers will kind of automatically do that movement if you relax them and really just kind of focus on moving that wrist. Let's do 10 of these together. Ready? All right, so start back in that starting position and forward. And come back. That's 1. Again, act like you're throwing 2 darts at the same time. and come back. That's 2. And forward and back. That's 3. And forward and back. That's 4. And forward and back. That's 5. Forward and back. That's 6. And forward and back. That's 7. Forward and back. That's 8. Forward and back. That's 9. Forward and back. That's 10. Good job. And finally, movement number 5 is another combination exercise for the fingers, the wrist, the forearms, even the elbows. And to do this exercise, you want to go ahead and curl your fingers into a fist. Doesn't need to be a tight fist. Go ahead and rotate those palms up, working on forearm supination. Now go ahead and bend those wrists forward into some flexion. You might feel a little bit of pulling on those tendons on the back side of your arms. Go ahead and keep that flexion. Now you're gonna go ahead and straighten those elbows down. That might intensify that stretch. If it does, you can relax those fingers just a little bit. Now when you come down here, go ahead and open those fingers and bend that wrist back into some extension, and go ahead and bend those elbows up as you maintain the fingers open and the wrist back in extension, and then back to your starting point here. Just make sure that this is a nice fluid movement. Ready? So go ahead and curl those fingers, turn the palm up, bend those wrists, and go ahead and straighten those elbows. Now open those fingers, wrists are back, and then go ahead and come back up into elbow flexion here and relax. That's 1. Curl those fingers, flex those wrists, straighten the elbows. Now open the fingers up, wrists are nice and back in as much extension as you can. Then go ahead and keep that extension, but bend those elbows up and relax. And that's 2. Back to finger flexion, wrist flexion, straighten those elbows. And go ahead and open those fingers up as you come down by your side, back up into flexion and relax. That's 3. Curl those fingers, back into flexion, extend those wrists, feeling that nice stretch. Open up those fingers, bend the wrists back, come back up, and relax. That's 4. Fingers are curled, wrist is flexed, straighten those elbows, open those fingers, extend the wrist back, and then come back up into that elbow flexion and relax. That's 5. You're halfway there. Fingers are curled, wrists are curled into flexion, straighten those elbows. And open up the fingers, bend the wrist back, and then come back up into elbow flexion and relax. And that's 6. Back to curling fingers, wrist flexion, straighten those elbows, open those fingers, extend those wrists, and then bend the elbows, keeping the wrists back and fingers open, and relax. That's 7. Curl, bend those wrists, elbows straight, open the fingers, wrists back, come back up into elbow flexion and relax. And that's 8. Let's do 2 more. Fingers are curled, wrists are flexed, and go ahead and straighten those elbows. Open the fingers, wrist extension. Then come back up into elbow flexion, keeping those fingers open, wrists back, and then back to a relaxed position here. And fingers curled, wrist flexed. Go ahead and straighten. Nice fluid motion here. Open those fingers, wrists back, bend those elbows back up, and back to a neutral position. That's 10. Good job. And there you have just completed 10 repetitions of 5 wrist and finger mobility exercises. Hopefully you are feeling a little bit more finger and wrist motion. Remember to keep coming back to these exercises every day to keep your wrists and fingers free from stiffness. Now, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, and make sure to check out more tips and exercises that you can do for your wrist and your hand in these videos here. Until next time, thanks for watching.